So, as you probably know, I suffer from Asperger's disease. So, as you probably know, are we recording? Fuck this. Yeah, professionalism up in here. As you probably know, I suffer from Asperger's disease, which is a form of autism, and I really, really don't like living with it. Last week I heard that there was a new Predator movie out, but I heard that long before, obviously. But I heard that there was an autistic kid in there, and that made me very interested in the movie. Even though I don't really know much about Predator stuff, I just know that the original is like an old Arnie movie in which he and a few other buff guys are somewhere in the forest and are being hunted down, Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd style, by some alien creature, which is a hunter of some description. And now in this movie, one of the characters is a little guy about the age of 12, I think, who is said to have Asperger's. He isn't written like he has Asperger's. He isn't as insufferable as I was at that age or as other Aspies mostly are at that age. But I think it's a kind of good thing that the movie is diverse, not only with people of different colors, but also like someone who is neurotypical, someone who has a form of autism. It wasn't well written, and I'm gonna have to say glorification of Asperger's and other form of autism, because it's horrible to live with this kind of disability. It is a disability, and it's also horrible to deal with people who suffer from Asperger's sometimes. And I say suffer from Asperger's because I suffer from Asperger's. It's not a nice thing. Maybe it has some upsides, I don't know, but it's really not that fun to live with it. And yeah, the first thing where we are introduced to the character with Asperger's, I'm going to look up the name. I've written some things down, like the name of the character, is Rory McKenna, is his name. And he is being bullied, and I didn't get the bullying at first because I watched dub, and they called him an ass burger, like a burger made of asses, and they translated that for the German thing word for word instead of coming up with another insult, which I thought was really weird and bad to do. I mean, can't you just come up with your own insult that makes sense? I mean, there is like a lot to hit there. Like, just call him Mr. Spock or something. I don't know. So the other reason I wanted to watch this movie was because it was made by Shane Black, who did Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and the third Iron Man, and not so well-known movie, which is actually really good, called The Nice Guys. It has the gladiator guy and the guy who all the women think is hot, but actually isn't. I can't come up with the names right now. Russell Crowe, and as I said, this is a really, really professional affair right now. Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling, yeah. And in that movie, they have to deal with a kid, which is kind of fun. And in Iron Man 3, there is a little kid. And in this movie, there is a little kid. They all kind of act the same way, the little kids. But this character is said to have Asperger's. But no, there's nothing to indicate that other than him being called an Asperger and him staying behind in a fire alarm and then picking up chess pieces and arranging them like they were before they were thrown down, even though a few moments earlier he was really, really disturbed by the fire alarm. He's just standing in the fire alarm and rearranging chess pieces. That doesn't make sense to me. And I was a little kid with Asperger's. Now I am just a grown man with Asperger's, and I'm not as annoying, I think. And it's unclear whether he does that because he has some kind of OCD or because he wants to show off. I would have done that to show off, but I'm not sure. I think it was well-meaning, but I don't think they did it very well, honestly. So in the end, the predator is hunting for this kid, for Rory, because the predator thinks, and someone else thinks that too, that Asperger's isn't a disease or a disability, which is fucking is movie. Listen to me, movie. It is, but it's actually the next step in human evolution. And the predator wants this kid to become more autistic, I think, and evolve with autism, which doesn't make sense to me. I hope it doesn't make sense to the movie. I hope they think it just makes sense to the predator, but what do I know? Anyway, this kid is being hunted down by the predator, and yeah, just imagine that. Just imagine if the movie or the predator in the movie is correct and the next step in human evolution is autistic people. I personally don't want to live in that world because as someone who is autistic, dealing with normal people, neurotypical people is difficult enough, but dealing with autistic people is fucking impossible. Like, I'm probably one of the most well-adjusted autistic people, one of the guys you will get along with at times. And just ask people who know me well, it's not always easy with me either. So in the end of the movie, the predator wants this little kid. And I thought, nice. Now what they are going to do, because they were building up to this earlier with the guy having worn the famous predator mask, which you can see back there probably. And with this mask, he, on Halloween, killed a guy and blew up a house. I was thinking, oh, they're going there. He is going to turn into some kind of new predator, or he's going to morph with someone. And I think that was going to happen, but then they defanged Shane Black and made like a Hollywood-type family reunion ending instead. I think something like that happened before with Iron Man 3, where it seemed to be a very, very studio-mandated thing in the end. But with both of these movies, I was just hoping for a more interesting ending. Also, there was a guy with Tourette's in a group of ex-soldiers who have gone mad for different reasons, and he isn't in any way linked with the kid with Asperger's. Like, you have two people with mental issues in the movie, and you don't bring that up or have them talk to each other at all. I don't even think they have met. Like, why not? They have stuff to discuss. They have the same kind of issues. And maybe the guy with Tourette's could have gone to the kid with Aspies and just said something like, yeah, it's going to be all right, kid, and you can deal with your problems like this and this and this. And that would have been nice for kids watching this. I know kids aren't allowed to watch this, but I would have liked the movie more than I did when I would have watched it like 10 years earlier, even though I obviously the movie didn't exist yet and I wouldn't have been allowed to watch it. I would have liked this movie, and I would have maybe needed a moment like this where one guy with an issue reassures someone with, in name only, but still the same issue that I am dealing with, that it's going to be all right. But no, they didn't do that. Also, they killed off literally all the people of color in the movie and all the people with issues other than this Rory McKenna kid, who, as I said, didn't have a problem because, Asperger's is just the next step. Yeah. I really fucking hope it isn't. And if you knew me or knew someone else, you know why. As I said, I'm probably the least insufferable of us. Yeah. I really hope there is going to be like a director's cut. I'm usually not for director's cuts because they mostly just make the thing longer, but in some cases, this was a defect movie. This was going to be so much better. I don't even know why they bothered with this, honestly. Like, I see greatness in this, but I also see that greatness wasn't fucking achieved. I just see a half-finished product, And I know that the Alien franchise is going the same way, that nobody wants to see any Aliens movie. Basically, the last Alien movie that I thought was any good was the fourth one that nobody likes. I actually like the third and the fourth Alien movie. Those are actually ones where the director's cut helps, like the David Fincher movie. I'm really getting into David Fincher right now, by the way. I might want to talk about that in another hangout or video sometime. By the way, these are actually going to be more frequent now. I was really, really feeling down and being sick, actually nearly dying once. So I wasn't on YouTube much other than watching stuff. I plan to do a really long video on the Holocaust and the American Civil War and contrasting stuff. But mostly, I'm going to do these types of discussions. Maybe movies, maybe like discussions of movies. That is what I'm saying. I'm not going to do full-blown movies. And maybe hangouts with other people. Like I have some stuff planned with Maddie and with some other guys. Maybe more with Kevin and Chrissy Winters. But other than that, I'm just going to discuss movies here, I think, or maybe some music. Anyway, back to what I was saying. What was I saying? Yeah, the Alien stuff hasn't been interesting since the 90s. This Predator thing was killed by Fox, I think. I don't think Shane Black, other than not handling autism well, deserves much of the blame. And it was actually fun. I would recommend this. This wasn't a bad movie. This was fun. There is a lot wrong with it, but it's fun. It's gory. It's funny. It's tense at points. And another thing. Maybe I'm a bit mean, but I want to rewrite the bully. I mean, Asperger's with the B and then U, I don't think is that funny and that insulting. Like, I use that when I speak English to make fun of myself, but maybe just, even though the kid was cute, bullies aren't always the most logical people or even care about what is actually true. Just call him an ugly motherfucker to call back to Arnie saying that in the first one. Also, why wasn't there an Arnold Schwarzenegger cameo in any form? Is he really busy with anything else? The Wikipedia article says he's busy with other projects. But honestly, he's not really acting anymore. He's not the governor of California anymore. What the fuck is he busy with? Writing kind of clever Facebook stuff? Come on. I'm disappointed. I'm just so disappointed. I was looking for a good time and it just didn't happen. Just, if you saw the thing, tell me what you thought about it. And maybe recommend some other stuff to me with Aspie characters in it so I can discuss it. maybe I'm gonna do. I've actually never seen Rain Man. Everyone tells me I should watch that, but I think Tom Cruise is so boring that I literally avoid his movies, even though some are really good. But I always think they would be better with someone who's a bit more interesting. I mean, even Reeves is more interesting. Can you not, Christopher? Right? That's all for now. Do the usual shit, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you around.